Hello and welcome to another episode of AWS She Builds Tech Skills. My name is Tamara Gacardi. I'm a Senior Solutions Architect and one of the hosts for today. I'm joining you from sunny San Diego. I'm curious where everybody's joining from. Please drop a comment on the chat to interact with us. I'm also co-hosting here today with MJ. MJ, welcome to the show. Can you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm MJ Zulueta, Customer Solutions Manager here at AWS. I must say, Tamara, I miss hosting She Builds episode, and I'm glad to be back. And I don't know if you're making me jealous about like the sunny San Diego because I'm from Minnesota and it's really freezing cold here. But yeah, I'm super excited for our show today. So, Tamara, we have a very interesting topic. So, I was reading more about data processing, and data suggests that approximately 80% of enterprise information are still unstructured. So, I want to know more what we're going to be discussing today.
Yeah, today we will be talking about artificial intelligence, more specifically, intelligent document processing. This is the technology on how you can extract information from documents, different type of documents. For that, we brought two experts in the field today with us to talk about IDP, Intelligent Document Processing. If you can both introduce yourself, maybe we'll start with you, Aditi. Tell us a little about more who you are, where you're joining us from, and then we'll pass it over to Yuli as well.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Aditi Gupta, joining you all from New York. I have been with AWS for more than 8 years, and my area of specialty is AI, ML, most recently generative AI. It's like, the talk of the town, of course. Education-wise, I'm double masters in technology as well as business, and I can tell you that this is the best place to be in AWS. So over to you, Yuli.
Hi everyone, I'm Yuli and I am the go-to market for generative AI and machine learning, right? I think some of you might be wondering, what does that mean? What does that mean is just that, I'm helping customers to evaluate the value of generative AI and machine learning so that they can use it for their business, either to improve revenue or to reduce costs. I graduated from UC Berkeley with Bachelor of Science as well as with Master of Business Administration. I started my career with developing machine learning models. And then I evolved into selling the innovative solutions that I used to develop, creating new ones along the way. And I joined AWS about 3.5 years ago. So I'm happy and thrilled to be here.
That's awesome. And Yuli, I mean, I don't want to keep our audience waiting. So when we hear about data processing, always reminds me of my filing cabinet. I still have filing cabinet. We file our taxes there, etc. Can you tell us more about the history of document processing in the olden days?
Yeah, actually, in terms of intelligent document processing, for centuries, people mainly have been doing it in terms of sorting and organizing of documents manually. And in fact, in the olden days, these filing cabinets that we see over here in the slides, they were considered cutting edge technology at that time, right? But the businesses actually create a lot of papers, a lot of documents, and a lot of unstructured data. Even outside of documents, we now see the creations of a lot of videos and audios and images, right? Just a lot of unstructured information that is being created. Over time, there's a new technology that was being introduced called OCR, optical character recognition, and it allows the business to be able to extract information from all of those documents, right? But typically, this OCR technology requires structured layout, structured format. So now, with the introduction of generative AI and the large language model, it is more flexible. It is not only allowing you to be able to extract the key information from your documents or your unstructured data more easily, but it is also to be able to summarize the document for you. It is able to classify the documents for you. It is able to help you also to take actions on the key information that has been extracted. So I think that's what we'll be discussing today.
Awesome. And Yuli, I know we've worked with, a lot of our customers, and from your work with them, what are some of the practical examples where IDP has meaningfully improved efficiency? And I also want to ask our audience to feel free to drop your industry in the chat and share what document challenges you're dealing with today.
Interestingly, right, we see our customers very excited regarding this intelligent document processing, and it has a lot of application across the industry. I can give you some examples, right, for some of my customers. One of them is in the automotive industry, and they're dealing with having to process a large amount of fuel receipts. So they need to extract the transaction amount of the receipt. They need to, extract the date, the location of the receipt, right? And they need to make decision after that whether the expense report is approved or not. So now with this intelligent document processing using generative AI, they're able to do all of that in a much, faster and less error prone.
And Yuli, you mentioned automotive. I know that we're showing a lot of different industries here. Super curious, again, from the audience. If you want to use the comments to interact with us, let us know which industry you're joining us, if you have prior experience with intelligent document processing. I myself, I worked directly in the healthcare industry. Most of us at some point in our life, we might need to get our blood drawn. And when that happens, sometimes you fill out forms. There's also forms in terms of your name, your background, what type of maybe blood tests you're getting done. All of that gone through IDP, Intelligent Document Processing, gets that information extracted. And why is that important? That's lowering the time that it takes to process if you want to do a claim with your insurance to see whether it's covered or not. And I know, talking about that, we will be having a demo on one of these use cases today, which I'm super excited to show you. We'll be also talking about the technology behind the scenes, so stay tuned with us as we do that. But before we jump into the demo and more talking about the technology, I know that we also wanted to preface with what are the different stages. There's different stages involved in intelligent document processing and how that works. So Aditi, you're familiar with this different stages. Can we talk a little more about those?
Yeah, sure. So I would say that we have basically 5 phases or stages of an IDP, the Intelligent Document Processing workflow. So it starts with data capture. Essentially, you're aggregating, organizing your documents from different business workflows within your organization. Then comes a data classification. So, if there is more than one type of document that is present, then you have to classify each document and send to appropriate document pipeline for further downstream processing. Then comes a phase 3, which is document extraction. That is, you're extracting the key business information. Again, we'll see that in the demo, that how exactly that works. And then enrichment. So essentially, you're getting the insights, business value from your data. You also might want to combine some data and see how it, adds more value. And finally, the review and validation. So you can run the business rules on your data or include human in the loop validation as it is needed. So it is essentially 5 different phases before it is ready for any kind of consumption, where you're sending the information for downstream apps or databases.
Excellent. Thank you for walking us through that. I know that we asked the audience what industry you're joining us from. We have people joining us from tech. Thanks for sharing that too. One of the other use cases that we popped in the slides was financial services. So I know we have somebody from our audience talking about that they're joining us from finance and mentioning that one of the biggest challenges is searching multiple repositories to deliver the documents. to the end users. We'll be talking a little bit about that as well throughout our architecture. I know Aditi just share some of the pieces of how you can address this through the workflow. And with that, again, whoever's joining us, I see that more people are joining us today. Please share with us where you're joining us from, as well as which industry, so that we can share with you as we walk through the demo a little more about those use cases. We have a demo that we want to share with everybody. And in that demo, it's a fictitious scenario in this case, but we'll be talking about two different personas. This is a scenario of a persona that is a business owner. The person owns a bakery, and unfortunately there was a fire. And in that fire, some of the machinery and equipment got damaged. And in order for that person to be able to reopen the business, they need to file a claim with their insurance to be able to replace the instruments that were affected by the fire. So we'll be covering both from the person making the claim and then also from the adjuster, and we'll be reviewing how Intelligent Document works. So with that, I know Yuli, you'll be sharing with us one of those two personas. If you can maybe walk us through what the experience is.
Sure. So indeed, as some of you have already mentioned, right? Finance and insurance companies are one of the biggest companies that has benefited from using this intelligent document processing. So as Tamara mentioned, I'm going to be acting out as a role as a bakery owner, and in this case, I am going to file a claim regarding the fire incidents that I have in my bakery. So since I'm logging into the system, it is already populated with my information. So my name is Jen Doe today. I think and I'm a bakery owner. It already have my information. So I'm going to click next. And in this case, I am being greeted by a chatbot. So it's asking me, can you give me a brief description of what has happened? My bakery caught a fire and my oven was damaged.
And what else? And I am able to operate. Okay.
So Yuli, while we're waiting for the answer of the chatbot, so it has already a preset of questions, right? That is being populated there.
Correct. So over here, as you can see, right? So the chatbot, I think later on you will learn that the technology that we use in the background, this chatbot is being connected to a knowledge base, right? Where it knows what kind of information that it needs to get regarding the claim in order to be able to submit that claim properly. So depending on how I answer the questions, it will ask me different follow-up question as well. So in this case, I forgot to give the information in terms of the date of the incident. So now I'm going to mention is November 25th, 2025.
I also do like how it's saying, I'm sorry. So we've seen in terms of interactions with agents or chatbots, being able to have that empathy level as well.
Correct. Yeah, it is now like the chatbot is no longer stoic like before, right? It is actually able to empathize with us. So it is better in a sense that way. So
it's also interesting how it's playing with, Yuli's questions there. It's figuring out what is the next question to ask. There is no set of questions there, but basically what Yuli is describing, it's coming up with the question. So I like how it is smart and, empathetic there.
And just to recap for the audience as we're reading along, It's asking what date, because you just mentioned very generic, this is what happened. So it's asking clarifying questions. It's also saying what time did the fire occur. It's also asking where was the fire department or the police called. So it's asking all these questions as follow-ups.
So what should I say over here, ladies? What haven't I never have a?
Well, maybe let's ask
real bakery
the
here.
audience.
Maybe electrical. I'm just thinking aloud. I mean,
Something must have been short circuit, right? Short circuited in the bakery.
Yeah, or maybe equipment went on fire or something for whatever reason because of combustible material or something. I don't know.
So as you can see, it's asking to describe what happened, and none of us are bakery owners, so probably equipment. If anybody from the audience has more experience, feel free to share in comments, and we'll add what you post in the chat.
Yeah, gotta love the live show. So
or any employee, this chatbot is asking me a lot of questions, more questions than before, right?
it likes talking to you, Yuli.
Yeah, it likes. I think what happened is that, when I was preparing for this demo, right, I have all this all complete answer, right? When we do all this live, I forgot, all the information that I need to enter. So now it's asking me how many employees. Okay, 3 employees.
And we'll see later on why it's asking for all of this information and what's happening behind the scene. It might seem like Yuli mentioned very talkative, but there's a reason why all these questions are being asked.
Yeah, I think what happened is that if I give all the information up front, right, with the date, with the oven that was damaged, how many employees, it will not ask me all these questions. Okay, it's 10. How much is an oven these days, guys? $6,000 maybe.
One is asking so that we're keeping up with the audience. Were there any people injured? How many employees were there? Now it's asking her for the cost of the item.
Maybe I should not say it because it will keep on asking me questions, right? So just for the purpose of this discussion, I will say no inventory damage. Otherwise, it will ask me which inventory, how much is the damage, right? Awesome.
Yeah.
We finally finished. So it's summarizing all the information that I have provided. The equipment is damaged, as oven, and then maybe it's around $6,000. And the police was called. The fire report was filed. The time of incidents, it's correct. The number of employee. Okay, great. It captures all the information correctly. So now it's asking me to upload documents.
yeah.
Okay.
And Yuli, as you upload the documents, can you also give us a simple walkthrough what those documents are and what types of internal company materials in the system is being referenced? So
yeah, so in this case, right, I have several documents from business interruption income statement as a PDF document. There are some information regarding the photo as well, which is available as a PNG document. And there's a video as well, right? So with this generative AI being used for intelligent document processing, it is now able to analyze and process all these different type of document. So let me upload this business interruption document. There's quite a bit of document here that I need to upload. So I will upload.
And like you mentioned, Yuli, in the past, we referenced it more maybe as a PDF, but now we're extending to videos, to pictures, to all these different type of formats that the intelligent document processing can process and extract information from.
Correct. And I mean, like, if in this kind of scenario, right, you want to have the pictures, you want to have the proof that the kitchen was really on fire, right? So typically, as part of the claim process, we do need to submit all of this information.
Yeah, what is also interesting here is it's really checking for coverage, whether, for based on the operational documents which were provided, it also figures out that it needs these certain set of documents. So this is what it has come up with the list, and that's what the system asked Hewley to, or the baker Hewley to upload. So that self-figuring part is interesting.
Awesome. So now I finally submitted the claim successfully. So now it's you editing.
Okay, cool. So let me now take the role of the claims adjuster now, because already the information has been extracted in the from the document in the background. It has already been analyzed for fraud, and which will take that case. We assume that it is two of the documents or claims which have come to me. One of them is where we have had this one, the sunny day scenario. The second is where we have a possibility of fraud. We'll go through both the cases. Usually it doesn't show up in both in the adjusters, but let us go through one by one and see how it is going, and it is giving me recommendation how to handle those. So let's take the first one, which is in progress, and it's showing fire. So if you see, if I click on it, all the details which were provided by the baker Hewley is already filled here. So you can see these, that what was the equipment. One was equipment which was damaged. Was there any? Well, in this case, it has taken some that it was damaged. But you can also see the documents which were uploaded by our baker Hewley, and you can go and actually click on them and see details. But what really happens is when these documents are uploaded, the information is extracted and filled here. So the missing information was extracted, whatever was not provided by our baker, and you can get these information. So if you click on a particular field, you can see it gives you a certain level of confidence with which it has extracted, and it is telling you which document it has extracted this information from. You can go to the document and look at the details. So you can either look at all the details which were extracted from this document. Let me change the view here and see it side by side. So I'm basically doing the verification part. So you see some of the key fields are highlighted here, that this was the report number, which is highlight, looks correct to me. One here it is giving me, in orange, maybe this is where the information is. It's showing oven, but it is showing that in equipment involved, it is giving me with 64% certainty. And if you also look here, this is something which is really interesting, where it says faulty wiring and building, operating equipment failure. But you can see that this is actually the enrichment part, where you are seeing faulty wiring is grabbed from here, operating equipment failure is grabbed from here, and it is really enriched by combining the various inputs here for our processing to make it much more meaningful. So you go back.
One item that I wanted to comment is, in the past, we would have to, going back to the history that Yuli was talking about, you would have a person physically review this information. Then if they needed to go and maybe get further details on the accuracy of what had happened, they had to spend a lot of time investigating, researching, reading manuals. And now you're seeing that after the extraction happens, and it's giving you that confidence score and items that you should review?
Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely correct that it makes it easier in many more ways. And if you also see again here in the documents, there are all sort of documents in tabular format, or in, sometimes even handwritten documents, which you can just go and upload. And the images, of course, or videos. So you are able to upload all those and extract information. So in this particular case, we see there was no real concern that was highlighted. We were taking a sunny day scenario, and I could just go and approve or reject claim based on the documents which I had provided.
Mm-hmm.
So I
want I want to add here, Aditi, is that like when you show the confidence score, right, for the key information that is being extracted, right? So if the confidence score is below a certain threshold, right, the companies can actually create a workflow to send it for manual review. So it is very useful for our customers, right, to use this technology basically, right, because they would be able to set a threshold, right, maybe like if the confidence score is below 90%, send it for manual review, right? So it is very useful to reduce the amount of error.
Yeah, actually, you raised a very important point, Yuli, that, in this demo, when I was demonstrating, I was basically showing how we manually review. But you are absolutely right. It wouldn't make sense if I had to go in as a true adjuster, if I had to go and, match everything. So that was a great point. Thanks for highlighting that.
I do have a couple of comments coming in from the audience. Again, please make sure you use the comments section. That's how we know whether you have questions, how you want to interact with us. So feel free to continue to use them. Somebody was asking on how to get started. I know that we have a number of resources that will address how to get started and information that you can find on the different product pages. So we'll be addressing that shortly. There were other comments as well in terms of the presentation. Thank you so much, mentioning that it's a great and useful presentation. And also there's a question coming in if it's multimodal. So the question is, does it work with a multimodal embedding in the document, a text, an image? I know that we'll be covering, Aditi, shortly part of the architecture. So maybe we'll table part of that question for the architecture while we will be showing you what's happening behind the scene.
That's awesome. Those are great questions, actually. And how about I finish the demo and then maybe I could request Yuli's help to maybe talk about one or two of those questions which we just saw, which we heard.
Excellent. Yeah, we still have a part of the demo to cover, but just wanted to make sure we bring up those. So Aditi, back to you. Let's continue with the demo.
I think I'll leave Yuli to note down those questions, and then I'll come back to Yuli to answer those. But let's come back to the demo that I was covering. So I just showed the sunny day scenario here. Let's come back and see what happens if it was not a sunny day scenario and there was some kind of document which was uploaded which did not pass the bar as it should have. So again, if we look at the second case, the rainy day scenario, and we see that here, when we look at the attached document, so far everything looks good. Let me just go and look at the concerns. Why is it under investigation? So we look at the concerns and we see that some of the, it's saying that the image of the bakery is AI generated. Let's just go and look at what is happening here. So I looked at the image. Well, sure enough, it has been generated by our own on our own Amazon Bedrock using Nova Canvas model. So you can see that it is AI generated and it has clearly been marked. Let's go back and see what was the other concern that it's saying.
It's pretty funny because one of the questions that it asked Yuli was whether the fire department was sent. So it generated.
Yes, absolutely. So this is another document. It says temper detection and indicates that the document may be tempered. Let's look at this document and see where it might have been tempered. Sure enough, if you can see here, this 22 looks a little fuzzy. Some fonts here. This 900 seems to be an odd font here. So it has identified that there is some tempering which has happened here, and based on that,
and Aditi, I feel like the system or the services is trying to track the metadata as well. Like, oops, this wasn't original. This was updated or modified just yesterday before submitting the document. So I love that our products and services does that. So
yeah. So later Yuli would be talking a bit more about which service we are using, but I wanted to focus on the use case to show how exactly it is impacting our use case as a decision decision maker. So you see the watermark had also indicated that it is AI generated. That is how it had figured out that it is an AI generated image, or if there are other watermarks, it can go and identify that. So this makes it much more easier. Even the fraud detection now in insurance becomes much more easier, because the same thing which Yuli was saying, that not only are you looking at the data extracted based on the confidence level, but it has also already seen whether there was some tampering or there was something which could be fraudulent. So this helps us investigate and take it into more details. And again, I can either reject the claim, approve the claim, or ask for more information. So yeah, over to you, Yuli, for answering some of the questions, or MJ or Tamara, I'll hand it over to you guys.
Yeah, and I think this is very interesting, right? Imagine if an insurance agent would have to review all of this information, all of this data and document and images, and looking at it one by one, right? It is very easy to miss, all of those indicators for fraudulent and for images that has been created by AI, right? Especially if, we're the insurance agent probably are doing this, all day and night, and they're dealing with tons of information that they need to review, right? So this is the reason why this technology is very useful, because it can speed up the process of reviewing and evaluation.
Yeah. So Yuli and Aditi, I have a question, because if I am a customer or the audience right now, what are the most common challenges that a customer face when moving from their existing document processing workflow into IDP? And aside from these challenges, what are the strategies that you have seen work best to overcome this internal resistance or ensure a smooth transition from the old ways of doing things into IDP?
Yeah, I think with our customers, that we have seen the biggest challenges is that they need to rethink their business workflow. So typically, they already have a certain way to organize the document, and this information sometimes is being put into their legacy database system, and they already have the people who is used to doing things in the old way. And of course, when you want to introduce a new technology, you have to rethink the process again, where exactly that you want to use this intelligent document processing so that it will give you the highest value. And if you have, millions or just tons of document, does it make sense actually to pre-process this document first, right, before you extract, the information that is necessary? And there is also a need to retrain, some of the employees, right? So maybe they are used to doing things in a certain way. They have to be retrained so that they would be able to use the output from the intelligent document processing, right, and take action immediately out of it, right? So there are some business workflow that needs to be changed with that. There are some trainings that need to be done. And as we pointed out before, Aditi was showing there's a key confidence score. So the companies need to make a decision, what is the threshold that they need to set in order to kick off the process for manual review as well. So those are some of the challenges that we typically hear from our customer.
Yeah, and it's lovely to see the front end side of things. Now, just a question on like the core services that has been used on that workflow. So, what are the AWS core services powering this solution from end to end, and how does Bedrock fit into organizing or categorizing the documentation?
And this is also the time where Yuli tells about that multimodal question. So she answers that the much awaited question.
We'll bring
Yes.
it back
So we
to
wanted to say we have not forgotten it.
So we have not forgotten this question.
Yeah.
So the question is, does this work with a multi-modal embedding if the document had text and images? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. This solution that we are going to discuss over here, it work with PDF document, it work with videos, it work with audio, It worked with images as well. So as you can see here, right, one of the core services that is being used in order to develop this intelligent document processing solution is Bedrock Data Automation Service. This is one of AWS services, which is providing a pre-built features specifically for intelligent document processing. Why do I say that it's pre-built, right? Because it comes with all the necessary features for intelligent document processing. For example, it comes with the key with confidence score. I think you have seen it from the demo from IDT, right? It comes also with the bonding boxes, right? You see that IDT was showing you there were some information that was like in gray, right? So that people can be able to match easily in terms of the information that has been extracted. In addition to that, this Bedrock Data Automation also come with a catalog or a library of blueprint. So this blueprint exists for a lot of the popular documents, such as driver license, right? So that you don't have to worry regarding the schema anymore. What type of data and what type of information in terms of the format of the field that needs to be extracted. You don't have to worry anymore, because then we have a catalog or a library of pre-built blueprints already. In addition to that, you can also connect this Bedrock Data Automation very easily with the knowledge base. I think later on Aditi will walk you through where this Bedrock knowledge base is being used, right? And you can get all of this benefit just by invoking one single API call. So that is the benefit of using Bedrock Data Automation. So with AWS, obviously, this is not the only ways to be able to deploy an intelligent document processing solution, right? If you would like to have a pre-built solution that with everything already configured for you, please look at and evaluate this Bedrock Data Automation. However, if you would like to build your own custom IDP or intelligent document processing, you can also do that, just using Bedrock and choosing one of the foundation models that we have in Bedrock. Okay. So any questions, Tamara?
No, I was just going to mention to take a double click on the blueprints that you mentioned. That I've seen accelerates the adoption of a lot of customers that before you needed to spend time on understanding, and even when you didn't have Bedrock data automation, you have to find models to try to figure out, hey, this document has this type of tables, or hey, this image usually is in this format. So it was very time consuming. And now with those blueprints, it really accelerates the adoption and the possibility of implementing intelligent document processing technologies for a lot of industries. So I know that was a huge advantage that I saw on this solution. With that too, I know you mentioned, Yuli, there's other pieces that we want to cover for the architecture. And Aditi, we wanted to talk also on how is it that it works from the chatbot experience that we saw at the beginning, the Baker Yuli leveraging, what's happening behind the scene there?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So let's come to how the claims chatbot really works. And let's start with, since we were two different personas, let's start with the Baker's persona, customers first always, right? So let's start with the Baker's persona and see how does this claims chatbot really works in the backend. So what we have is what the company does is essentially that is part of your data gathering process, that you gather all your insurance manuals, your operating procedures for various type of claims, and what needs to be done in case there is a claim. The operating manuals or operating procedures basically gives the complete details on how a certain type of claim is to be processed, what are the documents which are needed, what information do we need to have in us. So all that is uploaded to Amazon S3, which is our storage service. And this is essentially fed to, I'll just take a bigger, larger bucket, which is your Amazon Bedrock service. But what really is happening here is it is building a knowledge base. So Amazon Bedrock builds our Bedrock knowledge base So Amazon Bedrock Knowledge Base is a fully managed service for retrieval augmented generation, or RAG as we know it. So RAG allows us to augment our generative AI models with information which are specific to the use case, which are specific to a certain company, without really having to train our own models. So when we have uploaded the specific information which are provided by the company, then the LLM and the knowledge base basically combine the data and ensure that when it is answering, it is using the operating procedures which are defined by the company or the enterprise, and not just making up all the content on what all content it needs. So this is how then the Bedrock agent essentially talks and makes those all instructions. So that is the first step in doing that.
And Aditi, on the insurance manuals and operating procedures, that's something that the customer would need to provide the platform, so it has its own information and whatnot specific to the company. Yeah,
exactly. So you saw that where the baker Yuli was uploading some of the documents. How did it know which documents to upload? So that is exactly what was coming, where what information needs to be uploaded was coming from these operation manuals, so to say, which were loaded in the knowledge base. So this all happens in the background. As you can see in the purple block there, it's happening in the background. It has already been, it's not like the knowledge base is updated or created every time. It's a one-time activity. When you have set it up, you've just given it once. It's more showing here in terms of architecture, as in you are talking to it and it has already preloaded that information from the knowledge base based on the operating procedures that were already provided to it. But if, let's say, tomorrow a new procedure was to be added, and let's say a new claim type was to be added, suddenly there is auto function which this insurance provider has started providing. All it does is, as a one-time activity, it will go and upload these manuals and operating procedures. It, in the background, the knowledge base would be updated, and just like that, another person can come in and just start using the same chatbot to start asking auto-related claims. So
Perfect.
one-time activity, right? So yeah, we and that's how essentially the process of asking the customer for what information is needed. That information gathering process is also happening based on these manuals itself. So that is how it figures out and asks, provide me this information, and that's how it will allow you to complete the process. So.
And I think with that too, Aditi, one of the other comments that came from, and thank you, Lions Artist, was in terms of it's common to see, depending on the industry. I remember it had mentioned, this is in financial services, how they might have, as it's written here, documents that are full of super niche industry jargon. Do you have to fine tune the embedding model, or what are the best ways? In this case, we were talking about feeding also information from those insurance manuals, from the operating procedures. Have you seen any other forms?
Yeah. So if we look at the traditional way, what we are seeing, we would have had to fine tune based on the certain industry. But the good thing is that we have the latest announcement, which was done by our own Matt Carman during the keynote, where we don't have to do this fine tuning anymore. You can use the latest Nomura Omni model and just go ahead and start with your industry specific jargons, provide those details, and it is up and ready to use. So I would encourage, go and try that when you are implementing your IDP solution.
Yeah, so in regards to the question, right, we typically recommend our customers to try the pre-built solution first, right? So in this case, I would recommend to try the Bedrock data automation first, right? Talk to your account team. They should be able to help you with, experimenting using Bedrock data automation, right? And if you want to build your own custom intelligent document processing solution, right? And you want to maybe evaluate using Bedrock directly with one of the foundation models, you can definitely do that, right? And I think your question, after you figure out, right, that maybe the accuracy that you get is not sufficient for your use case, I think the next step is that you can take a look at into fine tuning the models as well, right? So we typically recommend our customers, right, look at what is already available first before you even start on the journey to create, something that is more customized, right? Because when you fine tune the model, which a lot of our customers are also fine tuning their models, they have this idea of, small language model, they use one of the open source model and then they fine tune it either using Bedrock or SageMaker, right? But with fine tuning the model, then of course you have to realize that you need to be able to take the responsibility of maintaining the models also moving forward, right? So I don't know whether with your kind of use cases, there will be a need to refine tune again the models moving forward, right? But the responsibility to maintain the models moving forward would be on your team as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Yuli, for adding all that additional context. I know we covered so far from the customer side. Aditi, now I'm also curious what's happening from the adjuster. You did the demo on the adjuster, and there was some tampering of documents. What's happening on that end?
Yeah, sure. So for the tempering, I would say that what really happens is when the document has been uploaded, it is essentially going through the same process where the information is extracted using our service, the Bedrock data automation. But what has also happened before it is even got to the stage of extraction is that it looks to the SageMaker for a model which has been deployed there to see if there was any tempering which was happening, any watermark signature which was happening, and then checking how it is matching, how it is not matching. So essentially, that is where our process comes into play. There are, of course, I have just extracted it out at a very high level, and it is not really something. There are other subparts which are in this whole cycle where you are extracting the data, you are ensuring that the information or the image, perhaps there is some change, there is a font change and all. So you are essentially using a custom temper model which is running on SageMaker, and you can train your own model for your specific scenarios. So in this particular case, we had taken for date and amount, but in your case, it might be something completely different which you're looking for, and also use the existing models which are available. So this is what really happens from the tempering side. And then there is this complete cycle where you're storing these metadata in between in probably some kind of a document database, the document database, and using it from there.
Yeah. This is really fantastic. I love that you can already detect any deep fake or any tampering of the documentation. I mean, like I said, I always go back to the olden days. Like we can tamper like signatures or any documentation to claim an insurance claim, right? So this is really good. Now, I think one of the questions earlier was like, well, how do we get started? So for organizations, may it be a startup or a full-blown enterprise, just wanted to ask Aditi and Yuli, how can they start their journey in IDP, and how can they, build from, what we already have shown to them today?
Yeah, so we have several guidance for intelligence document processing. I think, Tamara, you can put in the guidance here, right? To get started on intelligent document processing, right? I think we also have additional accelerators in the GitHub repository that you can use in order to evaluate, your use cases on intelligent document processing, right? So try it out. And in terms of the credits, I think one of the audience was asking regarding the credits. Contact your account team. They will be able to champion for you for your use cases, right? Definitely think we are more than happy to help you put this solution into production and help you with anything that you need.
Yeah.
So take a look at that. I think there's
Yeah.
another questions actually, which Nova model to be used. So we announced Nova 2.0 in reInvent. So there's Nova Lite 2.0, and there's Nova Omni also 2.0. So the Nova Omni, as IDT mentioned, right, it gives you the output not only in text, right, but also in other modality as well. So you can take a look at Nova 2.0 if you would like to build your own custom intelligent document processing, right? So if you need flexibility and you want to use, one of the foundation models, right, to build a custom intelligent document processing, take a look at, the Nova models, or we also have other models as well in Bedrock. We have the Anthropic model, the cloud models, right? We have, the Sonnet 4.5, Haiku 4.5, all of those models. If you would like to go with more of a pre-built solution, right, what we showed over in the demo is the pre-built solution that has the confidence score, the bounding boxes, right, and then the connection for manual review. Then take a look at the Bedrock data automation. So this is a separate service from Bedrock, right, and which comes with everything already pre-built, as well as the pre-built blueprint that we mentioned, right? But with AWS, we give the flexibility for our developers to choose, what services that would be right for their use cases. So experiment and evaluate, and then you can determine for yourself which one that you would like to use.
Yeah. And Yuli, I want to segue on that and build up on what you have said, because we just had an exciting week last week. I think everyone who attended reInvent had a phenomenal time. And I want to check with you ladies, like, what update are you most excited about from reInvent? So
I think I could take that. I am really, in terms of the IDP, I think I'm really excited about the new language support that has come up with the Amazon Bedrock data automation. So the Amazon Bedrock data automation now supports 10 additional languages for speech analytics workloads in addition to English. So languages like Portuguese, French, Spanish, Italian, Chinese, Cantonese, Taiwanese, Korean, Japanese, German. So it's like, all geographies kind of covered there. And it automates this generation of these insights from, like what we were saying, the multimodal content. And that's where you have all these, you were already processing the documents and images and audio and videos. So when you have these different languages, what it really means is that if there is more than one language in a video, let's say, or in an audio, then the BDA will create this multilingual transcript by automatically detecting all these supporting languages. So this sounds really interesting to me for users, especially when you're in not just in the IDP itself, but in so many other cases where you're uploading a telephone or conversation, then you have where you shift to your native language at times. So this makes it much more easier to transcribe, keep this in notes, and really take the documentation to the next level.
yeah, it's so impressive. The natural language processing right now is it's as if you're like talking to a human being already. It's not like before it was so robotic, right?
Yeah.
So I love that, we have like multiple languages to support global customers. Love
Yeah,
it.
and this is especially useful when we are thinking of the public sector use cases. Someone is doing a public safety call, and they wouldn't have to think, "Oh, I have to speak in English." They'll, by default, you start speaking in your native language, or clinical discussions when you're trying to explain something. I think we are finding a lot of use cases in this.
Mhm.
Perfect. Yeah. Oh my God, that hour flew by so fast. I don't know. I mean, I want to keep on going, but I know there's another, another episode coming in after our episode. So thank you all so much for spending your time with us. And we hope you learned something new, felt inspired, and saw what's possible in IDP, or Intelligent Document Processing, and GenAI. A huge thank you again to Yuli and Aditi for sharing their expertise. And thank you to everyone in the audience for your engagement. Great questions. And we cannot wait to see you again on our next session.
Thank you.
Yes, it was fun being here. Good discussion, ladies.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, everybody.